Get ready with me to work from home while you listen to me yap about my multicultural class. I'm not an influencer, but here we go. So we've already done some prep work with lotion, some spray for cleanliness, and we're going in with our SPF now. So something that came to mind, well, in the multicultural class is intersectionality. So when we learn about intersectionality, it's taking culture, it's taking your economic status, your gender, your ethnicity, race, everything that intersects that either puts you in the minority or in privilege or somewhere in the middle, okay? So this week while I was doing the discussion board, something came to mind when thinking about intersectionality and with men who seek counseling. Recently, I had in my internship, we were doing group supervision, and someone had a dad who is from the Middle East. He's first generation in America, and part of the case had to do with sexual trauma. And this case was sexual trauma from a older brother within their culture. And they were talking about how this female was touched by her brother. And the dad's commentary on this was, that's what women are for. And as I was writing my post this week, I couldn't help but to think about that. Because you do have cultures that view negatively as women. And how does that affect me as a counselor when I work with them, right? That puts female counselors in a sticky area. And it had me thinking about ethics in regards to, is this man, I don't have this person as my case, for my own personal case, it's someone else's. But is this man going to do well in family therapy with a woman? And the answer, ethically, if we're looking at how much progress someone can make, and if we're looking at the progress of the student, which is our case, as far as therapeutic practices go, it probably wouldn't be very therapeutic for a woman to run that family therapy if family members from different cultures already view mental health services as negative, one, and two, already view women as less than. So is this man really getting a benefit from mental health services for his daughter from a female? And that was something that had me thinking this week as I thought about, there really are different intersections within people that are going to help or hinder them along their healing process. And asking myself truthfully, am I the right person for this job, or do I need to refer them elsewhere? Again, this isn't my case. These are just some thoughts that prompted along the way as I learned about intersectionality. So that's my thought at intersectionality. Going in with the next step, which is my blush. Something else that I've been thinking about this semester is a lot about bracketing. I think my worldview, my cultural immersion really got me thinking about bracketing and what that truly means. As I did my cultural immersion, I really did not think that this would affect me that much. I definitely view myself as a fairly open person, but sometimes we have biases that come up in places that we wouldn't expect, which is really important to think about when you're in the counseling room with someone, because you may have a thought or a difference that pops up and go, oh, that's way different than my client. And then the next question is, what do I do with that, right? And the reminder is, this is about my client, not about me, and what is therapeutically beneficial to my client that will enable some progress within them and also give them an environment that helps them feel safe and respected and heard. But as I was in this Unitarian church, I really came to the conclusion that, this Unitarian church has so many different values, one of them being love. And as a Christian, we love everyone the way Christ loves us. That's what we're called to do, right? And so I'm thinking about the way I love, and then they're also talking about respect, and they're talking about our call to step up in culture and advocate for social justice. And I also stand for all those things. As originally a social worker, I still am. That is my job today. That will always be within me, and have a little bit of that case management within me, regardless of my position. I'm always going to care for people. That's who I am. And then I started to listen to the words that they're saying about the different political status and opinions that we have in today's culture. And I really started to realize that the way that we embody our core values and opinions really varies depending on your background, your culture, your political status, your age range. Those things really, really vary. And the way that I embody love is different than the way someone else embodies love. The way I embody respect is different than the way someone else embodies respect. And at the core, love is love and respect is respect. There are different things that you can do to show those things, but the intention behind them is different. I love people because Christ first loved us. And that's what I'm called to do. And their motivations to those things look very different. So I think just remembering that while we do bracket, there's all those layers that come behind it. And then lastly, I think that the spiral was a great activity for us to reflect on. As we reflect on that spiral, we're looking at what we hold the closest to us. And I do think it's funny that in class you said, don't feel like you have to put God at the center if that's not genuine to who you are. And I think at a Christian university, the culture is, that's what we do. That's the right thing to say. That is the Bible school answer. So to give people permission to probably be outside of the norms of their culture is a good reminder to us that there are things that also affect us, like our gender, where we live, our economic status, etc. So reviewing all those things, and ultimately all of these things help us be more, we're going in with some bronzer next, help us be more self-aware of who we are inside and outside of the counseling room, right? There are different things that we bring to the counseling room that we wouldn't in our everyday. And that's okay, because again, this isn't about us. This isn't about what we have to offer. This is about the client and the client's self-awareness, tapping into those feelings and emotions so they can be their own expert. We are not the expert, they are. But our responsibility is to be a culturally competent counselor so that we can create environments that enable growth, enable self-reflection, honesty, vulnerability, and give them that safe space to be able to do that.